Now is Nebraska Republican Congressman Mike Flood. Congressman Flood, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on.
Well, I'd like to start with one of the tweets by Elon Musk. As you know, he's been critiquing the bill that the House passed last month. Among a series of tweets he's made, he posted this yesterday. I'm going to read you a little bit of it. It says, "I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it." What is your reaction to this, Congressman Flood?
For the first time in American history, we cut $1.6 trillion in government spending. This doesn't happen overnight. This is mandatory spending. We're coming in with our first tranche of discretionary spending rescission cuts next week. This is a process. This isn't a sprint. This is a marathon. And when you cut $1.6 trillion, how can you say that's anything but a massive landmark bill, especially when you consider we also stopped 25% tax hikes on all Americans at the end of the year. I mean, you put those two things together, the only way we're going to get out of this is with less spending and more GDP growth, and that's exactly where we're going.
Well, but as you know, the CBO has said that this will add to the national debt, trillions of dollars.
Well, look at what happened in 2017 when the first tax cuts were launched. We had GDP growth a whole 1% more than the CBO initially forecast. So I don't live and die by what CBO says. I look at what happened in 2017. I know that when you keep taxes low, when you have more affordable housing tax credits, when you are doing the right things on tips and for older Americans, more money in people's pockets goes a long way, and it helps us grow our economy. And ultimately, it takes growth and spending reductions. And that's what this mandatory spending reconciliation bill does.
Well, just to be clear, Congressman, other budget experts actually say that what you're saying about what happened in 2017, not exactly the case, particularly when it's adjusted for inflation. But look, let me ask you about another tweet by Elon Musk, basically threatening to have anyone who votes for this legislation fired in 2026. What do you make of that? Does that give you pause?
Well, I know that our speaker, Mike Johnson, he's been in constant contact with Elon Musk. He shared with us that Elon wants a Republican majority in the next Congress. And, obviously, ultimately, we're all beholden to our constituents back home. Overwhelmingly, they support President Trump. President Trump had a great majority of people in my district support and vote for him. This is his big, beautiful bill. This is the Trump agenda. It's the America First agenda, and it's the agenda that I'm supporting. So I think people back home understand how important this is, and I'm hopeful that Elon and whoever else may doubt this will watch this play out and know that this is just the beginning.
Well, and again, as you know, the crux of his criticism is about the national debt, that it doesn't do enough to cut the deficit. And I want to play what you told Yahoo Finance last month, and I'll get your reaction on the other side.
Well, I tell you what, we're $36 trillion in debt, on our way to $37 trillion in debt, and this is a national security issue. So we do have to cut spending. I think as a Republican conference, we have been talking about this for the last 5 years. What do we need to do? How are we going to get there?
Look, you called the national debt a national security issue, but again, you voted for this package. And just to reiterate, the CBO is saying it will grow the debt by more than $2 trillion. So how do you square that, Congressman? How do you square supporting
exactly with what I've been saying? Unleashing America's economy, growth, plus spending cuts. You've got to have both. And I know what wouldn't grow the economy is allowing taxes to go up 25% on Americans, on Nebraskans, on people living from coast to coast in Hawaii and Alaska. That would be a job killer. That would be a dream killer. That would be terrible. So we saw it in 2017, and the economy was booming. COVID hit. Obviously, a major disruptor. It took us a while to get there. And then the Biden administration comes in and spends literally billions of dollars on the IRA. So we're putting all that back together. We are going a good direction. And when you look at our discretionary spending cuts that are going to get teed up, you look at our $1.6 trillion mandatory spending cuts. I haven't seen a Congress, and I don't think you have or anybody has in a generation that's done anything like this. $1.6 trillion in spending cuts. That's real, and that is also impactful.